Привет из Сингапура. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about office work and let's start with the definition.
Office work, this is how to produce electronic documents, how to produce paper documents, how to send requests, how to get answers, how to communicate with ministries or government or some authorities, how to get certified, how to ask for licensing or some other things.
And when it comes to the fundamentals, there is one question that I would like to ask first. So, given the size of the company, from at which state the owner or maybe the stakeholder should really need to start thinking about this type of the skill, this type of the things to have in their company?
There is one dirty secret. No one knows the size of your company. And when you are small, you are trying to be like a family and you send the letters or some requests with just usual language without blanks. A blank. Правильно, да? Without any blanks or
Templates.
templates. Yes, but if you are even smaller than everyone thinks, for example, you're just one person, you could also can create the vision that you are a huge company. For example, right now we have with my wife dentistry salon in the center of Moscow, and it is quite small, like 16 people just working in it. But every time when we ask some authorities or some companies to work with us or to give us permission or to send us price list and so on, we always use a very strict templates. And I hope that all of our address mate, they think that they work with a big company.
And when it comes to the fundamentals and building blocks, so what kind of the components the skill should have in order to be the efficient one?
First, you have a lot of template as you tell me before. For example, there are some letters, invitations, requests, and some other. For example, right now in our dentistry, we use AT, not 18, AT templates. And when we write all these letters, we always know how to name it. For example, we put the topic of the issue, then company which we sent with the letter, then date, time stamp, and so on. And when we make letters, we never send them like a reply. We always create a new letter, so we do not produce threads, because in the threads something could be missed. For example, if you will send me a letter, then I will send you an answer, and the back on the last email, in some email system, you will see that there are like 10 or 12 documents attached on the bottom, and no one knows which is the last one. But if you each time create a new letter, for example, just from your side, it would be always understandable what is the answer.
Well, truly indeed, it also reminds me sometimes you might be seeing the emails in your mailbox, which have like this forward, and then you open it and you expect, and you've been horrified because you realize it's like a forest of the different messages. And first thing that you need to do, instead of start executing and understanding the thing, you need to see actually what is the timeline, and you need to check and double check yourself to make sure you actually understood it right. So there is no like any addition. So obviously, yeah, the pain is something that I could relate to. So now when it comes to the levels of mastery that the owner of the company or maybe the head of a certain department of the team could implement in their office works, what are the steps they need to reach in order to have this perfection?
First, you should you understand that template is like a ground level. Another level is to make numeration. For example, if you give some kind of spravka,
Note.
if you give some kind of note, they should be numerated, and there are different ways. Small companies usually just made it by increasing the number by one, two, three, four, and so on. But huge companies usually they put a year ahead, and then months, and then some tire.
Slash. Dash, sorry, it's a
Yes,
dash.
yes, correct. Dash and then the number. So all of the numbering start from the zero each month. And on the high level, you also should have maybe Excel sheet or some database where you should write any request which is incoming for you, and you should know how long you are ordered by law to answer these requests, and you should be in this time, so you couldn't miss the period when you are obliged to answer.
And when it comes to setting not only how to put the certain documentation in place, but for example, like what should be the roles, what should be the SLAs? SLAs is the service level agreements, meaning that what is the time and etc. that you need to spend on certain statuses of the documents. So what are the specifics here? Like who exactly should be setting this entire process, and who exactly should be auditing or controlling or maybe fixing it?
No, it doesn't matter who make it, because not all owners know how to do this. For example, when I was working in the bank, we were using a lot of secretaries and helpers who previously were working in the ministries, and they know quite well how to deal with documents and how to do this office work. But if you are a family company and, for example, you have like 20 employees, if you have such a person, you're a lucky one. So it could be owner, it could be top manager, or it could be some person who is responsible for it, or maybe he or she will say, yes, I know how to manage with office work.
And when it comes to the mistakes that, like the staff or the person who execute on the office work could make, what are the top three?
First is to send unnamed requests, for example, to everyone to whom it may concern, and everyone will understand that it is not for them. For example, there are some companies which sell something, and they give like 500 addresses, and they write, if you want to buy this product, you could mail us back, and no one do it. Second, never put in carbon copy persons who is high enough. For example, when I was a top manager, I never was reading the emails when I was in carbon copy or in hidden copy. If it is for me, it should be just one my email. But if there are several, it's exactly not for me. And third level, maybe for office work, is to write as short as it is could be understood.
And when it comes to optimizing the office work or actually making the improvements, so who should be the people of doing that, and what are the steps that we'll need to take? And again, like here, I also have like a little example of mine. So at one of the jobs I was working, my company was working with a federal treasury. So when we came there to implement the electronic system for the documents, the staff here was complaining, saying like, oh, now we have this electronic document system. Now it means that we will need print more paper in order to actually, confirm all of the operations that we do. So obviously it was not that efficient to trying to save and optimize companies' resources. So going back to my questions, like who should be optimizing the system, how and how often they need to do it?
It's very funny. We are trying to transfer all the letters, all the requests in electronic form, but sometimes we ask for the companies to maintain logbook, which is a paper based. So, or for example, in the Russia, you will meet such an requirements that if you will get an electronic request or electronic contract, you should print it, then put a stamp, put a sign, and then scan it and send it back. And it is really funny. But for example, when we work with the tax office in the Russia, they have all documents sealed with electronic digital signature, and it is a good one. So if there is a huge office work for the ministry or for the company, someone who count money for the paper, for the cartridges, for the printer and Xerox should think if it is possible to reduce the amount of paper used by implementing electronic form of communication.
Last question will be about how knowing about the office work could help to make this world a better place.
This is a story which I like most. If our trees on the planet were given us Wi-Fi, no one would try to cut them. Everyone would happy if the tree would grow on the yard or close to my window. But we think that the paper was made from something we don't know. So we never count money for it, especially when we are not paying in the business center or in a copy center or co-working. So the best way is to think twice when you print something. When I was working with guys from Singapore, from Hong, there were very strange, I don't know how to say, подпись в письме. How to say it?
Email signature.
Email signature. There were some small green trees, and there were written, do not print this email until is quite necessary. And I was thinking, wow, they really take care about our planet. And I hope that everyone will do the same.
Well, save the trees and use the proper way of creating your documentations. А мы рассмотрели навык делопроизводства и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира!